a guan.
What's a guan?
That a guan pa.
What a guan? What a guan?
What a guan? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
And that's a guan pa. What a guan?
Turbulence to future, I'm have to end that CVM. See it happen. We've got the love others are searching for. I'm still loving you, even though you're gone. I could have been one of the most notorious. Keep it royal. Give thanks and praise for life. Thank you very much. Go bang! Bang, bang.
Baby burgers, 3 for the money. Brand new thing, whole a box of baby burgers. Roll up a Burger King, baby burgers. Wow, the taste, the time on BK Baby Burgers is
12 p.m.
Thanks for joining us for CVM News at noon. It's Friday, July 31, 2026. I'm Akeem Oret. Up first this afternoon, the Court of Appeal has dismissed Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness' appeal against a Supreme Court decision that allowed a portion of an affidavit filed by a Senior Integrity Commission official to remain as evidence in his lawsuit against the anti-corruption body. The appellate court also lifted the stay of proceedings that had paused the case while the appeal was being heard. As a result, Holness' judicial review challenging the Integrity Commission's investigation into his financial affairs can now move forward in the Supreme Court. The ruling does not determine the merits of Holness' case. Instead, it means the disputed affidavit will remain part of the court record, and the legal challenge to the Integrity Commission's actions can proceed. A 47-year-old man was killed in a motor vehicle crash along Manchester Road in Mandeville on Thursday night. The deceased has been identified as Junior Samuels, a resident of Bailey's Pen district in Tollgate, Clarendon. According to police reports, about 7:30, Samuels was driving a Toyota Hiace minibus from Mandeville towards Waltham when he reportedly lost control of the vehicle. The minibus overturned and collided with a Honda CR-V traveling in the opposite direction. An ambulance responded to the scene where Samuels was pronounced dead. It's alleged Samuels was involved in a minor crash early on Thursday where police took his vehicle from him and gave it to someone else to drive. At that point, Samuels was told by the police he was unfit to drive after being hospitalized with a heart condition. The occupants of the Honda CR-V escaped the crash without injury. In the meantime, ahead of Jamaica's Emancipendence celebrations, Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, is appealing to road users to take extra precautionary measures on the nation's roadways.
Slow down and live, and allow others to reach home safe. Buckle up both in the front and in the back. Place your infant in a car seat in the back of the car. Do not drink and drive. Do not smoke marijuana and drive. Do not use your cell phone without a hands-free instrument and drive. Do not run the red light. And pedestrians, be very careful on the roads. Do not wear dark clothes at nights. Let's all try and reach home safe during holiday celebrations.
To other news now, the PNP Women's Movement is calling for greater intervention to support families and communities affected by violence while highlighting the need for women to feel safe in public life. President of the movement, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, says recent events have reinforced the need for psychosocial support and a serious national dialogue about the safety of women, including those in political leadership.
When these issues of violence occur in a community and within a family, there's a special need, and this was raised by Angela Brownberg, for some kind of psychosocial support for the family and the wider community. You cannot victim blame in a situation. Same with a woman who is raped. You can't say it's because she had on her short shorts. Same thing, if a woman becomes unsafe because she's being threatened by fellow parliamentarians or other persons in the society, then it can't be her fault because she's standing up for what she believes, whether you believe it or not.
To St. Thomas we go now, where the developers of a proposed aquaculture project in the eastern section of the parish are defending the initiative amid continued concerns about its proximity to the Barking Lodge Primary and Infant School. Director of St. Thomas Farms Limited, Dr. Michelle Charles, says the project has received the necessary approvals and that the ponds would not be filled with water until permanent fencing is installed. Dr. Charles also says she remains focused on creating jobs and strengthening food security in the constituency.
We've lost so much in the last few years with the sugar industry going down. And we were in discussion with the principal at Barking Lodge Primary School prior to the first digging of the pond. She and I talked for quite some time about it. All approvals were done. We are monitored by the Ministry of Fisheries. And we are even considering having some of the students come in and observe what fish farming can do in our community.
The granting of Jamaica's first casino operator's license is continuing to spark debate, with the church warning that the promised economic benefits must be weighed against the potential social and moral consequences. Immediate past president of the Jamaica Council of Churches, Bishop Christine Gooden-Bengucci, says the expansion of casino gaming could have lasting effects on families and the country's moral fabric.
It is something that we will have to bring to the fore again, because it was something that we had been looking at and in fact placing statements, because it's a position, as far as gambling is concerned, it was a position that we, as the church, at that time, and I still believe where we are opposed to the legalizing of casino gambling in Jamaica. So while it will improve conditions economically for others, we have to look at whether that kind of initiative will, in the long run, augur best for the development of this nation, or take us down a road that is going to create further deterioration of the moral fabric of our society.
The Cannabis Licensing Authority, CLA, says new regulatory changes are designed to make Jamaica's medicinal cannabis industry more accessible, particularly for traditional farmers seeking to enter the legal market. Chief Executive Officer of the CLA, Farah Blake, says the new permit program is intended to help bring cultivators from the illicit trade into a regulated industry.
In 2015, the law was amended. The commercial side was developed. The religious side was addressed. But the traditional farmers, those persons who have been growing ganja for decades, persons who would have gone to jail, persons whose life would have been interrupted because of their interest and the growth of ganja, those persons were not addressed. Yes, it was addressed through expungement and so on, but what of the historic relevance of those persons? We have relaxed regulations, your surveillance. We take our time and help you to get within the 2 years to get all of the criteria that a regular licensee would have.
The government is this afternoon warning that water restrictions could be imposed from August 10 if current dry conditions continue. Water Minister Matthew Samuda says the measures would target non-essential uses of water as authorities seek to protect supplies ahead of the September school reopening.
As of August 10th, if the situation has not changed, meaning if the Met Service's evaluation of rainfall in July is as we suspect, that we had continued declines in rainfall, and if the forecast for the rolling 3-month forecast has not changed or has worsened, prohibition orders will come into effect. Prohibition orders speak to specifically irrigation and watering of gardens, lawns, grounds and farms, filling or supplying of pools and other things for domestic services, washing of cars would be prohibited, watering and washing of roadways, and any purpose that would require unusual or non-essential use of water.
And with that, we take a break here inside CVM News at noon. Our live interview comes up next.
Get ready for school with Chris and Charles. From July 9 to August 31, enjoy a low interest rate on loans of $1.5 and $2 million. Plus, get 25% off the processing fee on loans of $1 million Jamaican dollars and above. You could also qualify for one of 50 ready for school grants worth 60,000 Jamaican dollars each. Visit your nearest Chris and Charles branch or www.chrisandcharles.com for details. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles. Conditions apply.
In the heart of the Caribbean lies a beacon of financial opportunity. Welcome to Jamaica, where beauty and vibrance meet business and innovation. At the forefront of making Jamaica a robust financial hub, the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority leads the charge with trust and integrity.
Welcome back to CVM News at noon. Jamaicans are being advised to brace for water restrictions in the coming weeks due to drought conditions currently affecting the island. Along with early reports from Water Minister Matthew Samuda, it has also been reported that 10 of 13 parishes received rainfall amounts below what was recorded in the 30 years between 1991 and 2020. And as of June 2026, 73 water systems across the island are affected by the drought. 35 across Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Thomas. The restriction and shortage warnings come from the Water Ministry as more than 80 million has already been allocated between the Water Commission, members of Parliament and the Parish Council. Here to speak with us is Corporate Public Relations Manager of the National Water Commission, Delano Williams. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon to you too and to your viewers. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So first of all, can you provide the exact levels of shortage at the main reservoirs and the treatment plants today and how they compare to last year's drought?
All right, so in terms of comparison, we were, for the Hermitage Dam, we're at 47%. Last year we were at a little lower than that, around 43% at this time of the year. In 2024, we had May-June rain, so the percentage at the Hermitage was actually close to a full capacity of 300. I think it was around 360 of 390 million. For the Mona Reservoir, again, we are, as of today, at 60.9%. That's a little bit in the same range of last year. So the years are comparable. What is the area of concern for us is that we did not have the historical wet season in May and June. We did get some rains, as you will recall, several weeks ago. But the forecast from the Met Office for the next 3 months, which would include September into October, suggests that we will have very dry and very hot conditions. Typically, September into October is a wet season for us. So therefore, if there is no rain on the forecast, it means that our storage has to remain at a level that can allow us to supply water to the residents and the business operators across the city. Hence, the restrictions are now coming into play.
And I know Minister Samuda says a lot of regular practices and activities that would require unusual or non-essential use of water will be prohibited and citizens may be inconvenienced. What is being done to combat leakages before asking citizens to conserve on water?
So what is already being done is just a heightened monitoring and maintenance of our systems. What that means is that we, over the last 10 years, would have implemented what is called a non-revenue water reduction program in Kingston here, and also in St. Catherine. The St. Catherine project is actually now coming to its completion. But what we've seen is the ability to better manage pressure. So you don't have points where you have too high pressures to cause breaks on the network, and then other points where the pressures are just too low to supply customers. We're constantly monitoring those, but we also provide channels for our customers to share the information with us where they detect leaks that require our teams to come and do restoration. We have also been working assiduously to bring additional systems in place to augment the shortfall. And I want that to be clear, because typically customers are of the view that this is the same thing we did last year and the year before and the decade before. That's not the case. We've been actively improving on saving water. We've been making gains, so much so that in previous, perhaps the last 4 or 5 years, the drought would have started to impact us from as early as February, March. As we speak, we're just now coming into what are called water restrictions for the corporate area. The Constant Spring Network started on July 3rd, and the Mona Network will commence on August 3rd, beg your pardon. That's this coming Monday. So apart from what these gains from the NRW reduction do is they allow us to have approximately 50% more water on the network, which would have otherwise been lost due to leaks or theft. So that's a significant thing. The other part that we're doing is to bring new systems, or what we have as rested wells. We have 2 in the corporate area, and we've had 1 or 2 dormant in the St. Catherine parish as well. We've been able to restore those, recommission them, and the additional water will augment the needs that are now arising due to this dry condition.
So beyond the trucking, what long-term investments are being made to strengthen reservoirs and catchment systems against recurring droughts?
Well, happy you said that, because the trucking is really just an interim measure. The long-term efforts include 1, the completion and commissioning of the recovery content treatment plant. That will allow us to access 15 million gallons of additional water to complement the St. Catherine KSA network. And the context of that 15 million is that during our last drought, the worst drought we've had in the last 5 years, the deficit was just about 12 million. So 15 million gives us what we project to be the need based on those historical trends, but also a buffer above it. The second thing that is now in train is the assessment and then the ultimate work to expand the Hermitage Dam. You may recall that the history shows that the Hermitage Dam is close to 100 years. And so its capacity of 393 million is now proving to be a finite one. So the work to expand it will again allow us to have more water as necessary to buffer us during the dry spells like we're having now. And obviously with the unpredictability of the weather conditions and climate change, we're not using one method or one channel to say, okay, this is the magic bullet. So we're building in resilience. So the Rio Cobre project is one, which will be completed May of next year. That's May 2027. The Hermitage work will then commence, and depending on what assessment goes from there, we will then turn to the Mona Reservoir, beg your pardon, to again further assess the needs, where to expand if necessary, to harness more water for the cities.
And with this dry spell, Mr. Williams, what measures are in place to prioritize essential services such as our hospitals, schools, when it comes to these restrictions?
All right, so we've been working with our schools, and not just hospitals, schools, but also the police stations as they carry out their duties. One of the things that we've been working with as part of the Integrated Water Resource Management Committee is to look at their existing storages. That is an ongoing process now, and to arrange a schedule of supply to complement the needs for them, and also to arrange for trucking to ensure that there is continuity both for the schools, the hospitals, and of course those centers of detention.
And what about our rural communities who usually feel the impacts of these droughts first and the heaviest? Are measures in place for them?
Yes. So while we've already published the one for the KSA area, similar arrangements, similar schedules are being put in place for a number of the other parishes. So Northeast, which includes for us St. Mary, St. Anne, and Portland, a number of adjustments are being put in place now based on the system. So they will vary. Beg your pardon. One of the reasons we don't necessarily publish all because it would just be so numerous, because it's not so much of at a parish level. In Portland, for instance, you have at least 12 systems that are being affected. So from community to community, a different schedule will apply. Those we share via our social media platforms. We also send text and flyers, town criers to include. So the community members, business operators can be guided for those. And that is an ongoing process as we see the trends of decline happening with each system.
And I know members of parliament and the parish council members are expected to be involved in this process. How will you ensure this process remains completely accountable?
So at a high level, our management teams interact with the municipal corporations and the members of parliament to arrange, as Minister Samuda would have explained, the distribution of tanks and water trucking arrangements. At a mid-tier level, we also engage these stakeholders using WhatsApp groups, so they too can have the information to disseminate it to the residents that fall within the various divisions and constituencies. Notwithstanding that, for the customers that we have contacts for, meaning emails or text or mobile numbers, we also send the updates on those platforms. But we encourage customers to utilize or to subscribe to our WhatsApp channel, where the various schedules of supply regulations will be published. They can be guided.
And in 30 seconds or less, Mr. Williams, how can the public, how often can the public expect published independent audits of all drought-related spending so citizens can see exactly how funds are being used?
Well, we'll be guided by our regulators on the publications of those. I think we're balancing both the needs and, of course, accountability, and we treat both with the highest of importance. And so those will be published as per the proposed schedules for that. And we encourage customers, therefore, to also stay tuned and to conserve and practice where implement storage where they can do so.
All right, thank you so much. That was Corporate Public Relations Manager at the National Water Commission, Delano Williams. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. To international news we go now, where homelessness is rising across the United Kingdom, with thousands of people struggling to find stable housing as the cost of living and housing shortages continue to worsen. Al Jazeera has the details.
For Malcolm Leonard, the path to homelessness was